Welcome to the Reverse Stock Split Theory $75 Challenge. A lot of people ask, how much do I need to start trading? And I always tell people, you don't need much money to start trading, you need knowledge. The dollar amount you start out with really doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, the lower the amount of money, the better, because it won't hurt you when you lose. Now that you've completed my course for the Reverse Stock Split Theory, we're going to work on applying all your knowledge to trading stocks. So let me define the $75 challenge. I have 6 brokerage accounts that I'm going to be building that all have $75 in them for a total of $450. We're going to be using compound profit or compound interest, which is a financial tool used to make money. But since we are managing our own money, we're going to be doing the compounding ourselves. I'll be updating my Excel sheet with how much money I make, and the Excel sheet will then be updated with what my next daily or weekly goal will be. I'm going to take from my weekly paycheck $100 and I'm going to add it to a brokerage account. The goal is to build up multiple accounts to get me over the PDT rule or the pattern day trade rule. I won't be combining accounts till I have a net of $50,000. The whole reason why I'm doing this is I want to prove to people that it's more important to study than it is to trade. Because once you have the skill set to trade, you can always make money in the market. There is no rush, just apply your knowledge. A few years ago, I purchased the Kyle Williams Excel sheet to be able to track all your winnings and losses. At the time when I purchased it, the Excel sheet was $35. I've seen that Kyle Williams has now updated his Excel sheets, and now he's giving you all the data to be able to work with on everything that he's done to be able to make money. So the big difference though is that my Excel sheet is just like the bare bones, and his new Excel sheet that he's created is all his data, all his trades, and he's selling it for about $350. Which I think is a steal, and maybe down the road I may think about purchasing it, but for now I'm going to be utilizing this Excel sheet. Now I'm of course customizing the Excel sheet for my uses, and one of the things I've added to my Excel sheet is called compounding power. Now compounding power is just a thought process of reinvesting your profits and then making more money or building up your principal. And so I'm utilizing the idea of $75, and then I'm doing an interest rate of 1%. And this here is going to be what my daily profit will be for 1% of $75. And then what happens is that when it accumulates to the nearest $10, it rounds it up, and then it adds the difference over to my what would be the total amount of my principal that I'm using to trade with. So basically it's just compounding it over and over again. And I've also added on here every 7 days I'm going to be taking $100 from my paycheck and adding it into these columns of when I add $100. Now maybe sometimes I'm not going to be able to add $100, or I will be able to add $100 from my paycheck, or like in your case, if you wanted to do $50 or $25, you can be able to do that. So you can add your differences here. I had a wonderful trader who's been following me, and he sent me some money for Reverse Stock Split Theory as a thank you for all the work that I've done and all the knowledge he gained. So I put this money here in my additional contribution. So if I get any money from outside sources, I'll be adding it into here as well. So I am just taking wherever I get extra money, putting it into my accounts to help me keep on building this up. But I'm also adding my weekly profits or daily profits. And I'll be messing around with this more and more. I'm kind of exploring the process of building up these Excel sheets. So as I go through this, and let's say I'm consistently able to make money with every single day I get to the market, which is quote unquote highly unlikely. But if I was always green every single time I traded, it would take me to December 25th of this year to make $50,000. And what you'll notice is on the daily profit, the amounts are not crazy dollar amounts, right? They're not like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, or $10,000, which a lot of people are always pushing to make more money with. But at the very beginning, we're looking at 74 cents. And then so for the week, 74 cents is only going to be $5.18. So for the whole week, all I have to do is make $5.18, right? So I'm going to be building my formulas as I go along, kind of playing around with this. And then here in the monthly P&L, this will be the interest goal or the profit goal. Here, let me just rewrite that. So this gives me my weekly profit goals of what I need to meet every week to make sure that I'm still on track. Now, so far, last week, with my $75 accounts, I've made $41. On Thursday, I made $4.60. Friday, I made $27.19, which gave me a weekly profit of $73.50. And then I rolled over a trade from the week, and I lost $3. But then I made 2 trades today. I made $25.52, which right now gives me a total for the month of $99.02. And all I needed to make for the month to reach my daily profit goal was $38.21. So I'm ahead of the game. So what I'm playing around with on this calculator is, as I'm getting ahead of the game, I will update this, and they will update what's should I be making now that I've added more to it. So, for an example, the original goal for this week got increased by 50 cents from my winnings from today. And now I'm ahead for the week of $12.01. So it's a very simplistic way of thinking of trading, but the main portion of this is I want you to think of how little of money do you have to make on a daily to reach these trading goals of by the end of the year of making $50,000 on the year, right? And so the whole point of this is it's an exercise of trading with your size and your skill set. Now, if you can't take $75 to $500, there's no way you can take $500 to $10,000 or from $10,000 to $20,000, right? So with this, it's going to be refining the process of my trading and what my goals are and what my win rates are and all that fun stuff. So I'll be working through that as well. Let's see here. Oh yeah, the next part. Next part's going to be my playbook. I lost all my data that I've been creating since 2016 when I started trading, which was May 2016, to a hard drive crash, and I don't have any information available. So I have to recreate my playbook. So it's going to be a work in progress as I'm creating my playbook. Then over here, I'm going to have my trading journal. And again, this is also a work in progress for my trading journal. Building this up, and then my workups, which is what I do for reverse stock splits or any stock that I'm going to preload on the market, will be in the workups, right? So before it moves, it's going to be working up. Yeah, and then we'll go. So the brokers I'm going to be working with is going to be Webull, Interactive Brokers, Thinkorswim, which has now been acquired by Charles Schwab. So I actually have 2 accounts with Charles Schwab. One that I just transferred over from my TD Ameritrade account. And then I also have my Charles Schwab account. And then I also have a Robinhood account. And I'm thinking about adding a Fidelity account, mainly because the reverse stock splits have now been moved behind a wall where you actually have to be a member of. So, okay, so let's kind of get into today's trading. So hold on one second. Let me switch screens. Okay, so this screen here is my. By the way, I have a total of 7 monitors that I'm using to trade with. So this is one of the monitor screens here, and this right here is my general scan, my general market scan that I have here, and anything that has like 100% runner or more, that's not a reverse split, gets moved over to the currently moving watch list, so I can keep a track of it. And then over here in the middle, this is 2024 reverse splits that are currently happening right now, or going to be happening. Over here, this one is 2023's reverse splits that are currently happening. And then today's sector was the Trump sector, which Donald Trump won the Iowa caucus, and so the stocks responded to that. And then I have a bottom bouncer watch list that I've been working on. So this is basically how I utilize my stocks and my watch list. And again, when I did the transfer over from TD Ameritrade over to Schwab, none of my notes transferred over. So I had extensive amount of notes on tons of stocks, but I no longer have them. So yesterday, I basically went through and clicked on every single stock on this list, and it did a very basic note. And the note was reverse split 2024. Really, really basic. And then I had to rebuild my 2023 notes here, and you can see reverse split 2023. So any data or the workups I did in the past is totally gone, but it's there, and I like having it there because on my main watch list here, when reverse splits pop up on the main watch list, a little tag pops up here, and it tells me what the stock is, and then I can put in what it is and then what the sympathies would be, so then I know exactly what kind of watch list I need to go look for, right? That I've been working on for years and years. Thankfully, all my sector watch lists are there. And then over here, here's all stocks that recently moved, and I'll delete and add and double check the charts as things continue on. So this is this chart here. Okay, and then now this is my scans software that I utilize to scan the market. Now, the big difference between Thinkorswim and scan software is scans is more robust and it's not delayed the way TOS software is. Also, I get my information on SEC filings right away and news releases right away compared to TOS, but today I did notice that the offering that was done on PHUN showed up 40 seconds faster than it showed up on scans. So who knows what has changed now that they moved Thinkorswim over to the Charles Schwab servers, and from what I understand, they're going to be discontinue Street Smart software for Charles Schwab and going to be focusing directly only on Thinkorswim. So who knows what the improvements are going to be with that. It's a very robust software. But what we want to have here is my after hours scan here, and then I have my general market scan, which is this one here. These are stocks here that have more volume filter. This is what I have on this one. And then I have my watch list for any type of news that's popping up for reverse splits or anything that's important for me to check out. So this is basically how I'm going to be scanning all the time, and then I always will be changing what I'm looking for through filters through here. And what I'm kind of thinking about doing is duplicating this scan and then creating a separate scan that's called Stock Hunter or something like that. I don't know, Predator or On the Hunt or something like that. Anyways, that's kind of the idea of the scanning. So that's the setup there. Okay, so let's get into this morning's trade. I spent all weekend long rebuilding my workbooks, my playbook, and so let me switch the screen. And since I redeveloped all my stuff for the 3-day weekend for Martin Luther King Jr., got up early this morning, and the first thing I did is I changed my filters on my general market scan to 10-cent range because we're doing bottom bouncers right now. We noticed last week those 4 or 5 trades or 4 or 5 stocks that were around the $10 range, or not $10, 10-cent range that bounced up. So I looked at my scan and I saw that PUN, PHUN, was in this range here, and then this is when I bought it this morning because to me it just seemed an abnormal amount of volume, and then when I started checking into it I found out it was because it's a Trump stock, and it goes to my Trump watch list that I created from 2020. So let's slide this over here for you. So these are the stocks that were on there, and then so once I noticed that, I had my note, clicked on my note, and then I knew I needed to pull up my sector, so I threw my sector up of Trump stocks. So took an entry here, and then and the main reason why I took this entry so early is because last week all the 10-cent runners immediately took off from the gate right away. This one collected a little bit, and I was totally comfortable with it. And then as it started breaking out and it was moving, I was taking off 1/4 a position. And then I completed that trade and made a whopping $10.83. I also closed this trade this morning. I had 100 shares swinging over from my green line here is usually where my entry is at. Swinging this over from Cringe, which I made money on last week from this run, and that's the reason why I bought right away, is because I was expecting this type of action, whereas PHUN didn't do that type of action. It collected first before it ran, but either way, it ran. And then I sold the last 100 shares for a $3 loss, or $3.03 over here. And then let's go back to PUN. So I had 2 trades on PUN. After I completed this is where I started getting interested in rebuying again. But hindsight's 2020, right? This was basically a midday perk pattern. So let me show you what I was looking for. Okay, so this is the midday perk pattern with the drawing of it, explaining everything about the midday perk pattern, and then descriptions of how to make it work. So what I'm going to be doing is, from the main page of the midday perk pattern, I'll be adding screenshots of stocks that match those trades. So what's currently happening, and then I'll be building stats and everything from that. So okay, so and here is where I started taking the trade. Now, it's not so bad that I was doing a breakout play for the midday perk pattern. I probably should have paid a little bit more attention to it and bought in this area, but I didn't. I wasn't very proactive. Matter of fact, I was doing other things around the house, and then I started noticing it was pushing here. This is where I started seeing where it's collecting. I was like, I think this is going to go some more, and so I started adding size into this area, and this is where I did a ton of volume on trading. Now, my issue on this particular trade was I added too much size up in here instead of down here. And I originally had the thought process of adding 30 cents to 30 cents or lower. So if it came down to 30 cents, I would add my position there. And to me, I just rushed getting into it, and so it didn't feel good. Plus, on top of that, the stock was up like 300 and some percent. Let me grab the video of what it looked like when I was trading it there. Okay, so a little note to self. The biggest thing is I haven't been recording my screen. I just bought a new hard drive. And I'll be adding to be able to start storing all my screen recordings again. But I really love having the screen recording so then I can revisit what was I looking at that moment in time. Because looking at after the fact is one different thing compared to looking at it in real time. So this is kind of what I was getting into in real time. And I already pushed buying all my shares into here. And what I really wanted to do is buy down into the 30 range, and then risking off of the 25 cent range. I should have, but I just got too up in my head and got too aggressive with the trade, thinking I was going to miss out on it. And the other problem too is that the stock price, or the stock, how much it ran at this moment in time, was 343% gained, and 300% gain, and so this could have easily been the top, and the stock just totally fell apart. And that's what was running through my head, is just falling apart too quickly. And I already made my daily goals for this portion of the day, so it almost felt like I was pushing the stock. In retrospect, I had a great entry into the stock. Well, not a great entry. I had a great trade thesis, but not a great entry into the stock because I rushed it. Now, if I would have traded the original game plan on the stock, then I would have done totally fine with what happened next with the stock. The other thing too is I kind of want all this selling here, these big wicks, made me really nervous, but it was building a lower high over here, so it seemed like it wasn't going to fall apart. But it was just so much selling off into here, and it just wasn't feeling comfortable with the trade. I knew it was a bad idea to be in there, so one of the things in retrospect is stuff like this where it's pushing up the high of day, sell off a couple hundred shares or whatever the amount is, or 50 shares or whatever it is, to sell them off, because from my entry point this was 10% profit, and if my whole goal right now for doing compounding interest daily goals of 1%, I already clearly made that goal, which is really small. But what I was more afraid of was this action. And this is the action where I should have gotten myself into the stock. So rushing the entry, and then this is where I wanted to get into. And the rushing the entry was once if it breaks out now, once if it breaks out now. In the reality, I had like an hour and a half of trading time to build that position and keep on seeing how it was working and not being oversized according for what my losses were. So there was another push there. Could have easily took off some more shares, pulled back, higher low or lower high, and then this was the point where I finally cut the trade. I was already up, and I oversized my position, and I was just too far up, and then I was back over here, and the main thought was thinking it was going to fail to break out. So poor trading on poor entry, but the trade idea was solid. Now the other thing too in here is I did not have my dashboard of my other stocks that were moving along right here, and that's normally what I do. Is I normally have a dashboard of the sympathy plays to see how they're trading, because none of this was working by itself. And then it just went. And so it would have been a really great trade, and I would have pushed it myself out to this point here. completely sold myself out because of the consolidation, how much volume was happening here, and then how much it was holding it. So just poor reading, poor entry, being a Billy, getting into it, and I knew I was being a Billy getting into it, and that's what really hurt me. Entry points should have been over here, or scaling into this section here instead of trying to get it. So that's pretty much the trade review here. Okay, so back to back to the trading journal. I got some work to be able to do on the trading journal, but one of the things I wanted to add on to there, which I always forget, is inserting time, which will be my watch list. And I have this watch currently right now from 616. Need to do some more research on that. And then this is this morning's watch list. Basically, this was the only one I saw right away, and I just added these so I can build up my watch list. But here's my trade review. And so I'm going to be working on building up my trading review template, so it's a lot more structured than me just kind of off the cuff of what I was trading. But doing a history or overview of the trade market should be more up here. And then notice the what I noticed and how I was looking at the scanners, the charts, and then second trade, and then my notes on it and what things I need to improve on. For example, 1, automatically recording all my trades. Number 2, making sure I have my other charts that are up if it's a sympathy trade and they're trading together specifically. And then analyzing more actively with support and trend lines. And that's another thing I wasn't actively doing. So I needed to make sure that I'm adding my trend lines and everything else that goes along with trade analysis. And the other thing too, I need distraction. Watch a movie, play a game, or work on my playbook. I was too involved in focusing on the trade, and if I wasn't so focused on involving the trade and just letting the trade work, I wouldn't have been all worked up, and then the trade would have worked, and I would have been out and made all my money, of course. The second thing is after the trade, I just didn't feel good because of the way I traded it, so took the dogs for a walk. Make sure to exercise and get out of the house. Type of thing after a trade like that. So that's pretty much there. Okay, so back to here. I need to make sure. So all I want to do is just add a quick chart and put DATS. That would have been the other one. So what I should have had is more of a dashboard of my trades that were happening. All right. I can't remember what the other stock was. But anyways, if I'm doing sympathy and I'm doing a sector, I need to be visually looking at all my trades or using a different screen with my trades on there and utilizing them to tell me kind of which way to go with the stock. DAWC and PHUN are more of a sympathy to compare to DATS, but I mean they pretty much did the exact same thing. The next thing was, of course, the offering that happened today, and that pretty much wraps that up. So this is some notes I was giving as feedback to other traders in chat about trade ideas. So I just basically went through a chat, grabbed what I wrote, and then some of utilize this as helping through the template instead of using it off the top of my head. And then the other portion I'll be working through is going through the SMB Capital DNA program, which I also purchased, and watching that about building a template for my trade review. So got quite a bit of work to be able to do, and I'll be keep on adding this stuff. So I have to admit that this might be a blessing that I've lost all my data, because I get to rebuild it all up, and I'm 10 times more experienced than I was when I first started learning all the stuff. So it feels good, and I like it, and I think it's going to work out really well. So tomorrow, let's see here. Tomorrow is the 16th. So here on the 16th, tomorrow's the 17th. So tomorrow, all I have to make is $1.44 to stay on track with the compound interest process. The only problem is my PDT trades, and I also merged my trade, my IB, not my IB, I merged my TOS account and my Schwab account into one, so I'll be able to see the day trades available on those two accounts. And so I think I definitely want to do the Fidelity because I really want the reverse stocks calendar that they have. I really like that, and that's where I did all my training on. So back to the monthly P&L. I'm ahead of the game, but again, compound power trading for tomorrow. I have to make $1.44 and then keep on working that way. The only thing on this thing is this is going on a 7-day thing, and trading is only 5 days. So divide the other 2 days into this. But I think I would be just messing around with formulas to be able to help me work through this and add data. So it's just going to be a project to work through and adding formulas and stuff. But I'm really excited about it. And I would love to hear from you guys of what your thought process on it is. Oh, I almost forgot. My brokerage accounts, I have switched them all from dollar amount gain to percentage gain, because the reality is all these are exactly the same trade. The difference is I'm just the different share size. That's all it is. It's the same trade. No matter how many shares you got, it's the same share size and the same percentage gain. And that's why I always say that it doesn't matter how much money you start out with. All you're doing is just trading on it. Now, later I'll probably show you guys a brokerage account, how I have it adjusted. Probably the IB one. But IB, Thinkorswim. Matter of fact, down here on Thinkorswim, let me switch screens real quick. So down here on Thinkorswim, I have P&L percentage, right? And this will tell me what my percentage gain is. And the same thing with the IB, percentage gain is on the trade. And that's all I'm going to be going for. What my win average is always going to be. And of course, I want higher than 10%, 30%, 100%. Of course, I want all that. But at the bare minimum, all I really have to do is just do 1%. And then if I keep on doing more than 1%, 10%, 20%, this calculator will automatically adjust, right? And then it starts speeding up the process. So let's say, for example, that now that my account is $5,000, right, quote unquote, because it's divided up between mini, and I have a $600 gain. Oops, wrong spot. So let's go back to $5,000. So over here I have a $5,000 account and I have a $600 gain. It updates a calculator, and let's say I'm at a $10,000 account and I have a $3,000 gain. This is say, just hypothetically, it starts speeding up over here when I'll pass the $50,000 mark. So the more I perform, better. But the biggest thing is just taking this in little chunks, right? And that's why I think a lot of you guys are getting stuck in your head. This is a lot, as they say, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So this gives you a better idea of how long is it going to take you to get to that goal. And you just keep on exceeding the 1%, or let's say for the whole week, you make more than your whole week's week or month's gain. I mean, you're set. You're ahead of the game, and you just keep on working. So you shouldn't have to push yourself to keep on trying to make more money. Anyways, that's the idea. and how I'm going to work this, and I think it's going to be good. You know, I think it's a great way to challenge yourself on this trade and to really break this down into smaller chunks. And the biggest thing is while I'm doing this, I have to refine all my trading strategies. I have to refine the way I'm doing stuff, and I have to be very proactive of everything I'm doing. And just the natural tendency of this being active, being proactive, and how I go about it is just going to be exponential. So I'm excited about it. Hope you guys are excited too, and hope this gives you a lot of information to work with.